Welcome to the Wingmen Show. We're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingmen Show. My name is Drew Brown, and with me, my wingman, the guy who looks after my six, my man, Dr. Paul Thompson. Good morning, Paul. What's up?
Good morning. How are you doing? I'm alive, wide awake, ready to go. Had a very cold shower today to stimulate my immune system. I think
very good. I had a steam shower.
Okay.
Good. Hot and cold we are.
You're good, so much so.
That's good because, you know, I got a frequent flyer. He's a guardian angel, and you're really going to love this one that we have at the end of the show. But behind us, we both have the same airplanes. We got T2s. But before we get into our planes, let me welcome all our frequent flyers. Let me say hello to all our new listeners. You can watch us on YouTube. You can write a review for us on Apple Podcasts, and our newsletter is on wingmenshow.com. Welcome, everybody, to the Wingmen Show. Dr. Paul, we got a good show for you today.
I'm ready.
That's great. All right, so upside down behind me is a T2, and the T2 are the first jets that you and I both flew, and I loved it. It was the first time I ever flew a jet, and I won't ever forget it. And flying upside down was great. I do miss that kind of flying. I will tell you that. But the T2 was our primary jet trainer. And behind you, you have a formation of T2s. And I will say this, Dr. Paul, you used to teach inverted flight with negative Gs. So this picture behind me is very appropriate for you.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, the old T2 is a good airplane. They don't fly them anymore. I wouldn't mind owning one. I think there are a few flying around, but it was really a workhorse. It was similar to the Air Force had the T-37. That was their primary jet trainer. But the T2 is much bigger, maybe twice as big, 3 times as big. Had to be big and strong to land on aircraft carriers and just touch down hard all the time anyway.
Yeah, it's the first plane we took aboard the aircraft carrier.
Yeah, first one I did. Yeah, it was great. Twin engine, simple. Pretty simple. Fred Flintstone, early age plane, but really fun, very strong. The T-45 is not nearly as strong. I was told that by an instructor. They can't do what we used to do in the T2. It would rip it apart, apparently, if you went all the way. I used to do inverted spins, which are very, very violent, and did some damage on the aircraft, actually, but, repairable.
Yeah, it was a great airplane, and I loved flying it. And I'll remember the first time I went to Meridian, Mississippi, and I saw a formation of 4 T2s flying over, I said to him, I looked up there and said, I'm not going to be able to do that. That is way too goddamn cool. So I'll never forget that T2. I love that plane. And I want to say hello to our sponsors, Magic Mind. I took my Magic Mind this morning, and I'm up and popping. I stress less. I do more. What else can I say? I love that Magic Mind. What do you think, Doc?
Yeah, I did pretty well with it too. For about 3 months, 2-3 months, there was a garage door opener, an external garage door opener I was going to put up, and it just been sitting on a shelf for a while, just sitting there. And then, about a week and a half ago, took my Magic Mind. All of a sudden, I put it up there. It didn't take long, but something I just put it up there. It's there. It's working. It's great. I can hit the keypad and come right in. So thank you, Magic Mind, for helping me with my garage door opener.
And anybody who wants that Magic Mind that we both take, you just go to magicmind.co. That's magicmind.co, and you put in the code Wingmen, and you'll get 40% off your order. So I think it's a great deal. And thank you, Magic Mind, for sponsoring us. And thank you because we are a show that wants to make good. We want people to feel good. And what I'm about to tell you right now, Dr. Paul, is not real good, but there's a reason I have to say it, because I am just fed up. The mass shootings in America so far for the first month of the year has been over 29. And I think it's only 23 days into the year or something like that. It's ridiculous. A mass shooting is killing 4 or more without the gunman being killed. So 5 is definitely a mass murder. In other words, if you kill 3 people and kill yourself, you're not considered a mass murder. So it's disgusting. But what happened in Memphis, our town that we were just talking so good about, we saw 5 cops kill a young man. These were 5 black cops against 1 black kid. Now, this is where my point has exploded. There's no goddamn black and white. This is bullshit, and I'm sick of it. The division is good and bad. The division is good and bad. If you want to separate, we need to separate the good people from the bad people. But if you start looking at people's colors, you're just going to get mixed up. There's one race. Read my lips. One race. It's called the human race. And all throughout history, I can prove to you that white people kill white people, black people kill black people, Jews kill Jews, Muslims kill Muslims, so on and so forth. This is ridiculous. If you want to separate, if you really want to start doing good, we need to separate good and bad, not by the color of your skin. And it is ridiculous to watch. I didn't watch it because I don't want to put that bad stuff in my mind, Dr. Paul. I don't want to see somebody get killed in front of me anymore. All right. So, Dr. Paul, please help me out of this because I'm starting to get upset only because I know I'm right. My mother's white, my father's black, and I am a human being, God's child. I am proof that there's no black and white.
Okay. So I can't argue with you. I did watch the video. It's not, for me, it's not as graphic as I expected, but this group is called, it's a special unit. It's called the Scorpion Unit. Stood for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods. And they are basically, I think they came to being like in 2021. And they're kind of, I think they call them like jump out boys or jump off boys in different cities. Special units to try to cut down crime in high crime areas. It seems like these guys were pretty much rogue units. There is from some deep intelligence that I have, there may be some more to the story, and I'm just going to leave it there. But for the most part,
let me ask you this one, Paul. This is important. Yeah. Memphis is, the media, and this is the media's fault because they take a story and they just run it. Why are people upset in Memphis at all? They arrested the cops. They're going to probably really put them in jail for a very long time. What is the problem now? Well, why are people all riled up?
Yeah, this is unusual in that they move very, very quickly against them and against a group. I don't think I've ever seen
immediately
this before.
Immediately they arrested them and kicked them off the squad.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, what is the protest for now? Yeah, some people who just want to loot will go out and loot for any reason.
True. And sometimes
anyway, there's the dividing line, the good and the bad, and Dr. Paul and I are on the good side.
The outside, I hate to use that term, outside agitators. It's associated with some stuff 60 years ago that was used to justify the oppression of people. However, there are traveling groups that go from city to city when stuff is going on. This exists.
Didn't you just send me an article with 2 white cops in Arkansas beating the hell out of a white kid? They got arrested. They're going to jail too.
Yes.
That wasn't put in the news. Is there something different between black and white people getting beat up by the cops?
Yeah, that was a low key story, but it was there. It was like 3 guys, and I saw the video there too. Actually, that video you can, because it's daytime, you can see it better. And there's 3 guys. He's on the ground again. In both cases, the one you just mentioned and the one in Memphis, the person's already on the ground, and they're beating the crap out of them. They're already very subdued, and they're giving them commands. They're telling them it's basically a life and death game of Simon Says, and any answer you give is a wrong answer. And say
correct. Well, I said when you arrest somebody, put handcuffs on their ankles, handcuffs behind their back. That's it. Leave them on the floor. You're done. You don't need to touch them again.
Yeah, when you start beating him, I think this guy, he was handcuffed and they were working him over. There may be something personal involved in it that will come out later if that's true.
Sure. But when you can't trust your own civil servants, when you can't trust the people that you hire to protect you, something's wrong. And when people abuse that power, they should be put under the jail.
Yeah, these guys, these are individuals. You talk about a few bad apples. The reality is if everybody was being beaten by the police and was constant, when you went to you'd never make it back from the dry cleaners.
That's right.
But that doesn't happen. I mean, let's face it, that doesn't happen. You got folks who are in the job trying to do something. Some are honest, some are good, some are bad. I've only run into a couple of bad ones. If you remember, it's sometimes it's dangerous to inject movies into a larger point you want to make. But there's a movie called Boys in the Hood. I don't know if you remember.
I remember it very well.
Great movie. Well, in that scene, in that movie, there was a black cop. There was a black cop and white cop that had interactions with the main characters, like in the beginning of the movie and at the very end of the movie. And the black cop was actually the more aggressive of the two.
I can see his face.
I can see his face. He died. He's a good actor. He died not long ago. But that was a very good part. That was a very, very good part. And I've run into folks like that, a couple of them.
But I've run into so many more good cops.
Exactly.
So many more. I mean, 99% more good cops than bad cops.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, if you run into a bad cop, just be polite, don't say anything, and don't aggravate the situation.
Right.
Get away as quickly as possible. This is common sense. Don't bother somebody with a gun and the ability to take your ass to jail. That's just common sense not to argue with them.
Right. Yeah, and it's something that a thought that I have in general with stops and all that, busted tail light, the turn signal, this and that. No one should be killed because of a malfunctioning part that can be replaced at an AutoZone for $4.07 with tax.
Yeah,
that's ludicrous.
Well, they pulled this guy over for reckless driving. That's what they said.
Well, they said suspected reckless. How do you suspected reckless?
Suspected.
It's like being suspected. He means suspected.
Was driving recklessly.
I don't get it. Maybe he was reckless. He's with, near the house. Yeah, like I said, it may come out. There may be a little bit more to this.
Well, this is exactly our next subject. And I will tell you this. We are the anti-media trying to bring good news. I'm sorry we have to bring it through this, what just happened lately, but we're trying to bring something good to you. That's very important, that there's so much more good out here than bad.
Exactly.
So the next thing I want to talk about is actually news literacy, because from the News Literacy Project, they're saying that illiteracy is causing misinformation and disinformation. So in other words, you're getting information from any source you can, whether it's your iPhone, whether it's your tablet, whether it's your television, which information is correct and which information is disinformation. Because what happens is it touches your emotions, and you need to know feelings aren't facts. Feelings are not facts. And when it touches something that emotionally charges you, you tend to read on to that to get you more excited. The problem is our illiteracy as far as education in this country. People tend to believe things that are not true, and they go along with it. Feelings are not facts. What do you think, Dr. Paul?
You're right. And what makes it more complicated is that it's easier to get a message across and back it up with video and visual displays that engage all five senses, all your senses. It's easier to be drawn into things. I can make the unreal look real, like Avatar or your popular CGI effects. So somebody with an iPhone or some kind of computer know-how, I can make fantasy look like reality and reality look like fantasy. I can go back and forth. The things, is that real? I can't quite tell. They're getting better and better and better. So you have a group that a group of people or individuals that can't discern fact from fiction. Don't read a lot. We don't read enough. A lot of people don't read at all. Mm-hmm. So you're easily influenced by someone that's persuasive. Maybe they look a certain way. They get a message across. That's how advertising goes. And they can just put across a false message, maybe behind a pretty face or a handsome face or with music and special effects, and you think it's real. For example, there are aspects of both of the Top Gun movies that were, very, very real, and some that were very, very unreal. But it all melded together and looked really good. So unless you're really discerning, there's nothing to tell you that it wasn't 100% accurate from start to end.
And if you don't know any better, you'll start passing information like that on to your friends about Top Gun, about jets, about what you saw. Oh, no, jets can do this, jets can do that. And all of a sudden you think you know what you're talking about. Yeah. But that's not true. It's just fiction.
It's just a fiction. It's a moment in time. For the airplane behind you, you might say, you know, you can turn that airplane upside down. You can fly just like that for 1 hour and 45 minutes straight with no problem.
I know.
And no one said anything. So, hey, no, you can fly 145 an hour and 45 minutes that airplane. Blah, blah. Let's look at the picture. Nice picture. Got the tail hook going. And yeah.
Well, guess who you can't fake? Guess who you can't fool? You can't fool dogs. And we just learned this. Dogs can actually smell stress. And that's not a fake feeling. If you're stressed, you actually produce a certain smell, and dogs can tell if you're stressed. So if you're a dog owner, you know that your dog knows when you're mad. And that's because you give off a certain sense. And that, I'll tell you, that smell, I do believe it's from cortisol, adrenaline, and a lot of other factors that are not supposed to be going on in your body that causes that smell. Because, look, that's what Magic Mind does. You know, my dog must be happy because I drink Magic Mind. I don't have any stress.
It could be. It could be. It could very well be. Because they can pick up. Because I think with the dog's nose, it's like 10 to 20,000 times more sensitive.
100,000. 100,000 times more powerful than ours.
Okay, so 20,000, the dog has a cold. So it's like 100,000 times more. Yeah, they get colds too. So yeah, that's why they can pick it up. My dog used to be able to, he could do that at times. Even when I tried to act like not mad, he could tell I still was. So I said, because I wanted to come here. He would just leave. He'd just go away. I said, okay, come back.
Well, guess who else can smell?
Who?
Ants. They just started using ants to start smelling cancer. They tested with breast cancer. They took breast cancer cells, put it on a rat, and some kind of way their urine smelled different. And the ants would actually go to the sick rat rather than the healthy rat. They now might be using ants to determine cancer, which is excellent. And when I lived in the Virgin Islands in St. Thomas, Paul, there are certain fish down there that you can't eat because of the coral reefs. They eat certain corals that'll make you sick. And you know how the islanders tell if that fish is good or not good?
No.
They kill it, they put it on the beach, and the ants will not eat a sick fish. But if it's not sick, the ants will come on and just take it away. How about that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's true. Well, now I got to interject this because I love this. Yeah. You know, Dr. Paul and I see T-shirts sometimes and we put them on. And this one, I'll put it on for all the YouTubers out there who are watching us. But look what this says, Dr. Paul. Don't piss off old people. The older we get, the less life imprisonment is a deterrent.
This is good. I probably get one of those for the Ayatollah. I can't think of anybody who would.
Life in prison isn't a deterrent.
Big deal. Yeah, right. That's right. You know, that's not quite true, but it's kind of true in a way.
It's funny, and hopefully people will get a kick out of it. And you know what time it is? It's time for the Wingmen PSA. This is from the 11 Facts in Life, and this is fact number 4. Have purpose. Find your gift and use it. Find purpose. Find your gift and use it. Success is waking up every day, doing what you love and doing it well. Find purpose. Paul, that's a big one, man. If you have purpose in your life, it makes you get up. It makes you want to do things. It gives you that extra oomph.
Yeah, you need focus. You need to have something to get up and do, not just wander about and bang into random things. You need to be focused and move in a positive direction, especially the older you get. If you're younger, take advantage of the opportunities, any educational opportunities you have, because as older you get, it gets tougher and tougher. You can do it at any age. Yes, there are people graduating in their 80s and 90s. Okay, fine. It's a lot easier if you do it early. Do your stuff, get your stuff done, and move forward.
Well, let's talk about that purpose, because here's a good one. You know, there's a caste system that you've talked about many times. The caste system in India actually divides people from the highest to the lowest at birth, and you can't get out of that. It's impossible to get out of. And they've actually brought that crap over here to America. So we're in the universities, these Indian students, the ones who come from lower societies, are being punished by the ones that come from higher societies. And I believe Harvard did it and Brown just did it. They outlawed the casting system, which is amazing that you have to outlaw something like that. But the caste system keeps you at a certain level. Well, there is a school in India, believe it or not, and you have to be poor to get accepted in this school. But there's 250,000 applications a year and only 200 kids get in. And this is the only school that with your education, you might be able to jump the caste system because you can come to America and go to an American university. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that, Dr. Paul? Because you're talking about racism at its highest form, and everybody's Indian, everybody in this system. But some people come from poor people, and some people come from the blessed.
Yeah, that's something I just, we've learned about rather recently, and I saw something in the West Coast at maybe Stanford and some other universities are saying, don't do that stuff here. And there are those who are protesting. Some from the Hindus, higher caste Hindus, are saying, well, you're discriminating against our religion because we can't discriminate. It's really rather fascinating. From some professors, some Hindu professors, that this is the way we do things. Here, I'm thinking to myself, maybe it's the New York background in me. It's like, well, if you're on neutral territory, why would you have a problem? You just settle with your fists and we'd be done with it.
Yeah, why would you even give into that caste system?
Yeah, I'm
well, maybe the people lower, aren't they called Dalits?
The Dalits are supposed to be the lowest one, D-A-L-I-T.
Well, maybe inside their head, they've been raised like this, and they've been raised to maybe think that they're lower. Psychological slavery.
Right. I don't know. I don't know if it goes on in neighborhoods too, but the fact that it's going on in upper academia indicates that it's probably like an everyday occurrence inside of that group. Just as you have massive ethnic groups in the United States that basically, in many ways, when they're private, they operate kind of separately. They're quiet. You don't see them on the news that they're doing their thing. Many times that's good, but other times it's not good. For example, all groups have crime units. There's a special department in the Department of Justice that deals with Asian crimes, the Asian Crime Unit. Mm-hmm. I never knew about it until I met a bunch of big guys who were working out in the gym in Seattle. They were there for a big summit. It was the Asian crime units in the U.S. and I think Vietnam and a few other places. That was in the 90s. Special thing. That was during the Clinton administration. So, nobody's perfect. The whole model minority thing. Yeah, there are all kinds of excellent people.
Oh, yes.
And there's some people who are not so excellent.
Yes, that's the division that we talked about in the beginning of the show. Right. The good and the bad. Let's split them. But it has nothing to do with the way you look. And talking about the schools, you see, in America, the one thing, and I've always preached this, that school is the one way out of any situation you're in, no matter how low you are. If you work your ass off and you learn in school and you attend a good university, whether it's an HBCU or another kind of university, if you attend a good school and you have an education, you can be anything you want in this country, unlike the others. And I will give you the top school systems, believe it or not, in public school, sure. Because I sent my children to public school because I believe that you have to learn how to deal with the people in this world around you. Mm-hmm. The top, you ready for this? The top public schools, you're not going to believe the first one, but the first state is New Jersey.
Really?
How about that? Yes. New Jersey, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. Isn't that amazing? Those are the top public schools. And they produced this girl, Madison Checkett's 12-year-old science fair, actually used reverse spherification. That means you can put a liquid inside of a gel membrane. And she made edible water bottles. Now, people would say, oh, who wants to eat the water bottle? That wasn't the point. The point is that this water is being carried around in a container that is biodegradable. Okay. Because believe it or not, We actually buy 1.3 billion plastic bottles of water a year, and 22 million every year wind up in a landfill in the ocean because we only recycle about 9%, Dr. Paul.
Yeah. And they said, in terms of the water bottles, there's a section in the Pacific of plastics floating that's like as large as a small state in America. It's just floating. It's not going to go anywhere for forever. And a lot of stuff ends up in fish. A lot of stuff's in the fish you eat, the PCBs and everything.
But how about this girl, Madison Checketts, who actually invented this at 12? What is she going to do at 22?
Yeah, well, she should patent that bottle, number one. That would help her. And might, bring an end to this stuff, or at least cut down the destruction.
That's true. Let's talk about Magic Mind for a little bit, because what I like about Magic Mind also is it has vitamin C in it. And vitamin C, when you get a cold or something, that's what they want to shove down your throat, a lot of vitamin C. So first of all, anybody interested in Magic Mind that actually produces less stress and gives you more to do, you don't have that feeling of, I'll do it tomorrow, which I love. But vitamin C is real important. And anybody out there, just go to magicmind.co. That's magicmind.co and put in the code Wingmen and you'll get 40% off. But what about that vitamin C, Dr. Paul?
Yeah, vitamin C is good for inflammation. It's an antioxidant vitamin that makes our body strong. Using a lot of things so we can stave off colds or help treat colds and other respiratory things with vitamin C. It's essential. You can get it in oranges and grapefruit and other things, but it's nice to have it with the Magic Mind. It's already in there and helps with the taste.
Wow.
So take your vitamins.
Yes, 100%. Take your Magic Mind. Yes. All right, Dr. Paul. Remember I was excited about my Wingmen?
Yes.
Man, I almost want to cry telling this story, but there's this guy, Hody Childress, from Geraldine, Alabama.
What's his name again?
Hody.
Okay.
Hody. Oh, Hody Childress. Hody Childress just passed away, and they just found this out. After he died, when he was a younger man, his wife had scoliosis, and he used to carry her every week to the football game, carrying her up in the stands to watch the football game. Well, because his wife was sick, he used to go to the drugstore to pick up his medicine. And one day, he saw that somebody didn't have much money to buy their medicine. He took the drugstore owner, the pharmacist, because it's a small town, 900 people, so everybody knows everybody. And he slipped him $100 bill. And he said, do not, I repeat, do not tell anybody I gave you this. But this is for people who can't afford their medicine. And he's been doing that, walking to the drugstore with $100 bill. Now, see, this is not just a credit card, deduct 100 like I do for some of the charities that I go to. This was a low-income guy who $100 bill meant the hell of a lot. But every month he would walk to that drugstore, even after his wife passed away, and would give $100 to the pharmacist for people who could not afford their medicine. And when I tell you there's a split in this country, there is. There's good and bad. And we could talk about those 5 ignorant-ass cops, or we could talk about Hody Childress, who cares for other human beings in this country. And Hody is my wingman today. What a great guy. What a great guy, Dr. Paul.
That's good. Well, that sounds like a guy who's a hero. He's a wingman, and he specifically doesn't want to be recognized. He's doing things from his heart, or did things from his heart, not for recognition, but just because it was necessary to help someone else out.
Well, somebody told me a long time ago, real charity is when you give and you don't tell anybody else. Not giving and telling everybody that you gave. Okay, and so that's what Hody did. I want to be like Hody.
Okay, well,
Dr. Paul, I do wish you anything that's beautiful, anything that's meaningful, and anything that makes you happy and our listeners happy. May you have it today and beyond. And I pray for peace.
Okay, and I pray for peace and wish good things to you and all our listeners who like, share, and subscribe, and pass on our message.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and refer to use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth and goodwill towards all men and women.